Well, good afternoon, everyone, and we're here today to talk about current standings as it relates to crime in our city. And as you know, Chief Dorham keeps me updated regularly with all of the specifics as it relates to crime, overall crime, and violent crime in particular. And he calls me, as a matter of fact, in the middle of the night sometimes to let me know what's going on. And in a moment, the chief's going to update you on the two most recent homicides. But before you hear the details, I want to give you a broad view of crime in the city. In this year 2015, the city is continuing its reduction in crime. The violent crime reduction is at the rate of 17%. Property crime reduction is at a rate of 11%, which places the city at an overall crime reduction rate of 11%. And that's very good. Very pleased with those numbers and pleased that we're continuing to be able to provide reductions in crime. But I want to just make this caveat with the numbers that I've just mentioned. They're good, but we've got to continue to focus on crime reduction. We've got to continue to focus on citizen involvement. And I think that that's what our police department is doing as you hear these numbers today. And I think that I can safely say that Richmond is a model for crime reduction for any great city, focusing on community policing and strong partnerships. We have partnerships throughout the city with faith leaders. We have partnerships with our school system, with business organization, with neighborhood and civic organizations. We have good relationships with jurisdictions that join us, and that's the reason why we are able to do the good work that we're doing. But most important, as always, is the individual citizen. And we continually invite and encourage and ask individual citizens to continue to help us reduce crime by recognizing that we're your friends, we're your partners, we are those who are here to protect you, and that if you see something, you need to let us know about it, because that's the way we get things done. And so with that, I'm going to ask the chief to update us on the last two major incidents. Chief Durham.
Today, I want to provide the citizens of Richmond with updated information on our city's last two homicides. First, let me say our thoughts and prayers go out to the families of those victims. On Thursday, June 11th, officers responded to the 200 block of Roanoke Street for a report of gunfire. Upon arrival, they found Diego S. Brown with a gunshot wound to his head. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Patrol officers secured the scene while major crimes detectives canvassed the neighborhood. Forensics responded and processed the crime scene, collecting several pieces of evidence. At that time, citizens began to come forward, providing information that assisted us in identifying two possible suspects. Within 72 hours, working with the Commonwealth Attorney's Office, we obtained warrants for two individuals. With the assistance of the U.S. Marshals Fugitive Task Force, Mr. Rayshawn L. Ward of Chesterfield and Brandon R. Townsend of Richmond were taken into custody without incident. These individuals have been charged with conspiracy to commit murder, while additional chargings are pending. This murder was the city's 12th homicide. The city's 13th homicide was confirmed on June 15th. The department identified the body discovered last week as that of Miss Katasha Johnson of the 1300 block of Jenny Shear Road. At approximately 9:22 a.m. on Friday, June 12th, officers were called to a wooded area in the 2200 block of Jenny Shear Road by a construction worker who had discovered human remains. The body was then turned over to the medical examiner's office to determine the cause of death. Johnson was last seen on the morning of June 3rd when she had dropped her daughter off at a daycare center on the city's north side. She then failed to show up for work. Detectives have identified David L. Rios as a person of interest in this case. He is an acquaintance of Ms. Johnson, and he also resided in the 1300 block of Jenny Shear Road. Mr. Rios is currently being held at the Richmond Justice Center. He has been there since June 8th on 3 counts of simple assault. These charges are unrelated to Ms. Johnson's disappearance and the murder. This investigation is still ongoing, and the department has asked anyone with any information regarding Ms. Johnson's disappearance to contact the Richmond Police Department at 646-5100 or Crime Stoppers at 780-1000. This year, the city has experienced 13 homicides compared to 20 for the same time frame last year. This is a 36% reduction in homicides. Of the 13 homicides, 6 of those are currently cleared, and the detectives have strong leads in the additional 4 homicides. I want to break down the murders this far for you. 4 are being drug-related, 3 are as a result of arguments, 2 are domestic, and 4 are undetermined at this time. What's interesting is the 4 that are drug-related all have to do with marijuana. And what the incidents, what it resulted in is folks trying to rip drug dealers off. So I have 2 messages here. One, for those of you who are selling drugs, in particular marijuana, is it worth you losing your life? And for those of you who are the shooters committing these murders of the sellers of marijuana, is it worth your life going to jail? So that is very important. The community has played a very, very important role in us closing the majority of the homicides this year. I think that is a change in culture in this community. That is as a result of community engagement, and I think that they're believing in their police department now that we are going to catch these folks who are out here committing crimes of violence in their neighborhoods. This is the true essence of community policing and partnerships. One final point I want to highlight. As we head into the summer, we have already started several initiatives. One of those being, as I mentioned before, is our Firearms and Fugitive Initiative, and we're partnering with the state police. This initiative targets the removal of illegal firearms from the city streets. From May 30th to the present to today, which is 18 days, we have already removed 31 illegal firearms from the streets of the city. This effort has traditionally been a key factor in reducing violent crimes during the summer. So again, we're out here, we're doing some great work as a department and a community. Again, we cannot do it alone. We always say it's a shared responsibility, so we wish to continue to drive crime down, again, with the help of community. And if you're out here committing these offenses, you're going to jail. It's simple as that.
Any questions for the mayor or the chief?
Chief, of the 3 simple assaults for Mr. Rios, his family has said those assaults were against Katasha Johnson's children. Can you confirm that?
I don't want to get into that right now. It's part of the ongoing investigation.
Chief, can you confirm that Katasha Johnson had a protective order taken out on Mr. Rios?
I'm not aware that. I'll get that information for you.
Okay.
Chief, can you say whether or not he has been cooperative as far as your investigation into Katasha Johnson?
He has been, I guess what you would say, cooperating with the lead investigator in this case. We have been having conversations, but again, the case is ongoing. Again, we just told you what the initial charges were, and we're trying to build that case against him.
Why are you calling him a person of interest?
Well, based on information discovered during the course of the investigation.
Can you expound on their relationship?
It's my understanding they were boyfriend-girlfriend. They were in a relationship.
And not a suspect at this point, you're not?
No, just a person of interest.
Can you say how long they were dating? Was this?
I don't have that information. I don't have that information.
Do you know if they lived together?
Yes, they did.
You said you were trying to build a case against him?
We have evidence. We're investigating information that's coming in from citizens in the community, and based on some of the conversations that we have had with him. All right.
Okay?
Are these 2 murders completely unrelated, the 2 that we're talking to today? I just want to confirm.
I'm sorry, repeat the
The
question.
2 murders we're talking about today, the 12th and the 13th homicide, they're completely unrelated?
Oh, unrelated, yes, sir.
And the 12th one that you mentioned, is that one of the 4 marijuana cases that you're talking about?
Yes, sir.
Did you want to speak about the apprehension of the guy from Rona?
Yes. As you know, Drew, what was Maxim's last name, the individual? Chisholm. Just to let you know, earlier today, officers from the first precinct made an apprehension, and in that suspect, as you know, he was wanted in Sussex County for stabbing 2 individuals that he was staying in the residence. So we have made an apprehension of that individual here in the city of Richmond.
Was that with your guys that pulled him over, or they pulled him over with Marshal Service? Was it both?
A combination, yes, the task force. All right.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
thanks a lot. Good job.